Hey there, you looking kinda cute. Don't forget to subscribe and check out my other socials for more. Enjoy. The following months were a whirlwind of happiness for Talia and Finn. Their relationship blossomed, growing stronger with each passing day. They fell into an easy rhythm, spending most of their free time together, yet maintaining their individual friendships and interests. Talia continued to thrive in her career, her confidence growing as she fully embraced her identity in the workplace. Her colleagues had become like a second family, offering support and encouragement at every turn. Di, in particular, had become one of her closest friends, always ready with advice or a shoulder to lean on. As summer turned to fall, Talia and Finn decided to take a weekend trip to a quaint coastal town. They rented a small cottage overlooking the ocean, spending their days exploring the charming streets and their evenings cuddled up on the beach, watching the sunset. On their last night, as they walked hand in hand along the shoreline, Finn suddenly stopped and turned to face Talia. The setting sun painted the sky in brilliant hues of orange and pink, casting a warm glow over his features. "Talia," he began, his voice filled with emotion. "These past few months with you have been the happiest of my life. You're the most incredible, brave, and beautiful person I've ever known." Talia's heart began to race as Finn dropped to one knee, pulling a small velvet box from his pocket. "I can't imagine spending another day without you by my side. Talia, will you marry me?" Tears of joy streamed down Talia's face as she nodded emphatically. "Yes! Yes! Of course I'll marry you!" Finn slipped the ring onto her finger, a delicate band with a sparkling diamond, before standing and pulling her into a kiss. As they embraced, the waves lapping at their feet, Talia felt a sense of completeness she'd never experienced before. The news of their engagement was met with an outpouring of love and support from their friends and family. Ellen insisted on throwing them an engagement party, which turned into a joyous celebration of their love story. As they began to plan their wedding, Talia found herself facing a new set of challenges. Choosing a wedding dress brought up complicated feelings about her body and identity. There were moments of dysphoria as she tried on gown after gown, but Finn and her friends were there to remind her of how far she'd come and how beautiful she truly was. In the end, she found a dress that made her feel like a princess, a flowing A-line gown with delicate lace sleeves and a sweetheart neckline. When she stepped out of the dressing room to show Di and Ellen, their tearful reactions confirmed that she'd made the right choice. The wedding planning also brought up the issue of Talia's relationship with her parents. While they had come to accept her transition, there was still tension and discomfort at times. Talia worried about how they would react to her walking down the aisle as a bride. After much discussion with Finn and her therapist, Talia decided to have an honest conversation with her parents. Over dinner one evening, she opened up about her fears and hopes for the wedding day. "Mom, Dad," she said, her voice trembling slightly, "I know this hasn't been an easy journey for you, but I want you to know how much it would mean to me to have you both there on my wedding day, to have Dad walk me down the aisle." Her mother reached across the table to take her hand. "Oh, sweetie, of course we'll be there." Her father nodded, his eyes misty. "I'd be honored to walk you down the aisle, Talia. You'll make a beautiful bride." The months leading up to the wedding flew by in a flurry of preparations. Before they knew it, the big day had arrived. Talia woke early, her stomach fluttering with a mixture of excitement and nerves. As she sat in front of the mirror, Di expertly applying her makeup while Ellen styled her hair, Talia felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. She thought of that Halloween party years ago, how terrified she'd been to show her true self. Now, surrounded by love and support, she was about to marry the man of her dreams, fully and unapologetically herself. The ceremony was everything Talia had dreamed of and more. As the doors of the chapel opened and she began her walk down the aisle on her father's arm, she locked eyes with Finn. The look of pure adoration on his face brought fresh tears to her eyes. Their vows were personal and heartfelt, a testament to the unique journey that had brought them together. As they exchanged rings and shared their first kiss as a married couple, the chapel erupted in cheers and applause. The reception was a joyous celebration of love in all its forms. Talia and Finn danced their first dance to the same song that had been playing when they reconnected at Ellen's dinner party, a nod to the moment their love story truly began. As the night wore on, Talia found a quiet moment to slip away from the festivities. She stood on a balcony overlooking the twinkling lights of the city, reflecting on the incredible path that had led her to this moment. Finn joined her a few minutes later, wrapping his arms around her waist and resting his chin on her shoulder. "Everything okay, Mrs. Thompson?" Talia smiled at the new name, leaning back into his embrace. "Everything's perfect, Mr. Thompson. I was just thinking about how lucky I am, how far I've come." "You're the strongest person I know, Talia. I'm the lucky one." As they stood there, basking in the glow of their new marriage, Talia felt a profound sense of peace settle over her. The journey to self-discovery and acceptance had been long and often difficult, but standing here in the arms of her husband, surrounded by the love of her friends and family, she knew that every step had been worth it. Talia turned in Finn's arms, meeting his gaze. "I love you," she said softly, marveling at how those 3 simple words could contain so much meaning. "I love you too," Finn replied, his eyes shining with affection. "Always have, always will." The sounds of laughter and music drifting up from the reception below, Talia knew that this was just the beginning of their adventure together. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them side by side, stronger together than they ever could be apart. The years that followed were filled with both joy and challenges for Talia and Finn. They settled into married life with ease, their love growing stronger with each passing day. Talia continued to excel in her career, eventually earning a promotion to a senior management position. Finn's architectural firm took on increasingly prestigious projects, allowing him to flex his creative muscles. Their home became a haven of love and acceptance, not just for them, but for their wide circle of friends. They hosted regular dinner parties, game nights, and holiday celebrations, creating a chosen family that supported and uplifted one another. About 2 years into their marriage, Talia and Finn began to discuss the possibility of starting a family. It was a complex and emotional journey, involving many late-night conversations and consultations with medical professionals. They explored various options, from adoption to surrogacy, weighing the pros and cons of each. Throughout the process, Talia grappled with feelings of guilt and inadequacy. There were moments when she mourned the biological children she would never be able to carry herself. But Finn was always there to remind her that family comes in many forms, and that their love was more than enough to nurture a child. After much consideration, they decided to pursue adoption. The process was long and often frustrating, filled with paperwork, home studies, and anxious waiting. But Talia and Finn faced each hurdle together, their determination to become parents only growing stronger. Finally, after nearly 2 years of waiting, they received the call they'd been hoping for. A baby girl had been born, and the birth mother had chosen them to be her parents. Talia and Finn rushed to the hospital, hearts pounding with excitement and nerves. The moment they held their daughter for the first time, all the challenges and waiting faded away. Talia gazed down at the tiny bundle in her arms, overwhelmed by the rush of love she felt. They named her Zoe, meaning life, a testament to the new chapter she represented in their lives. Bringing Zoe home was a joyous occasion, celebrated by their entire network of friends and family. Di and Ellen took their roles as honorary aunts very seriously, showering Zoe with love and affection. Talia's parents, who had continued to grow in their acceptance of her, doted on their granddaughter. Parenthood brought new challenges and immense joy to Talia and Finn's lives. There were sleepless nights and moments of self-doubt, but also countless precious moments of love and discovery. Talia found that being a mother came naturally to her, her nurturing instincts blossoming as she cared for Zoe. As Zoe grew, Talia and Finn were committed to raising her with an understanding of diversity and acceptance. They surrounded her with positive role models and books that reflected all types of families and identities. They were open with her about Talia's journey, answering her questions honestly and age-appropriately as they arose. When Zoe was 4, they decided to expand their family once more, this time through foster care. They opened their home to a 7-year-old boy named Marcus, who had been through several difficult placements. It was a challenging adjustment for everyone, but Talia and Finn were determined to provide Marcus with the stable, loving home he deserved. Over time, Marcus began to trust them, his walls slowly coming down. Zoe took to her big brother role with enthusiasm, her natural empathy helping to bridge the gap. After 2 years as foster parents, Talia and Finn were overjoyed when they were able to officially adopt Marcus, making their family complete. Life wasn't always easy. There were still moments when Talia faced discrimination or misunderstanding from those who didn't know her history. Marcus struggled with trauma from his early childhood, requiring patience and professional help to work through his issues. But through it all, their love for each other and for their children remained a constant source of strength. As the years passed, Talia watched her children grow with a sense of wonder and pride. Zoe blossomed into a confident, compassionate young woman, always ready to stand up for what she believed in. Marcus, though he still had his struggles, had found his passion in music, his guitar becoming an extension of himself. On the evening of their 15th wedding anniversary, Talia and Finn sat on their back porch watching the sun set. Their children were inside, Zoe helping Marcus with his homework while music drifted softly from the open windows. Finn reached over and took Talia's hand, intertwining their fingers. "Can you believe it's been 15 years?" he asked, his voice filled with wonder. Talia smiled, squeezing his hand. "In some ways, it feels like just yesterday. In others, I can hardly remember a time when we weren't together like this." They sat in comfortable silence for a moment, reflecting on the journey that had brought them to this point. Talia thought back to that night in the department store, how scared and confused she'd been. If someone had told her then that this would be her life, married to her best friend, mother to 2 amazing children, successful in her career and comfortable in her own skin, she never would have believed it. "Thank you," she said softly, turning to meet Finn's gaze. "For what?" he asked, his brow furrowing slightly. "For everything. For loving me through all the changes, for being my rock, for building this beautiful life with me." Finn's eyes softened. "Loving you is the easiest thing I've ever done, Talia. Thank you for being you, for trusting me with your heart." As they held each other close, the last rays of sunlight painting the sky in brilliant hues, Talia felt a profound sense of gratitude wash over her. Her journey had not been an easy one, but every step, every challenge had led her here to a life filled with love, acceptance, and joy. She thought again of those 3 steps to happiness: finding out who we are, accepting who we are, and being who we are. Talia realized that while she had achieved all 3, it wasn't a final destination, but an ongoing process. Each day brought new opportunities for growth, for self-discovery, for being true to herself. As the stars began to twinkle in the darkening sky, Talia and Finn went inside to join their children. The sound of laughter filled the house as they gathered around the table for a family game night, a weekly tradition they all cherished. Looking around at the faces of her loved ones, Talia felt a warmth bloom in her chest. This was what happiness looked like. Not perfect, not without its challenges, but real and deep and true. She had found her place in the world, surrounded by love and acceptance, free to be her authentic self. And as she rolled the dice, playfully trash-talking her family and reveling in their shared joy, Talia knew that this moment, this life, was everything she had ever dreamed of and more. As the game night wound down, Zoe and Marcus began to clear the table, their playful banter filling the kitchen as they debated whose turn it was to load the dishwasher. Talia caught Finn's eye across the room, sharing a silent moment of contentment at the scene before them. "Hey, Mom," Zoe called from the kitchen, her voice tinged with excitement. "Don't forget about my art show tomorrow night. You're still coming, right?" Talia smiled, warmth blooming in her chest at her daughter's enthusiasm. "Of course, sweetheart. We wouldn't miss it for the world." Zoe had always been artistic, but in recent years, her talent had truly begun to flourish. Her latest series, exploring themes of identity and self-expression, had earned her a spot in a prestigious youth art exhibition at the local gallery. "Can I invite Aunt Di and Aunt Ellen?" Marcus asked, his head popping around the kitchen doorframe. Despite not being related by blood, the two women had become integral parts of their family, their presence a constant source of love and support. "Absolutely," Finn replied, ruffling Marcus's hair as he passed by. "The more the merrier. Why don't you give them a call now?" As Marcus scampered off to make the calls, Talia felt a familiar surge of gratitude for the family they had built. It wasn't always easy, but moments like these made every challenge worthwhile. Later that night, as Talia and Finn prepared for bed, a comfortable silence settled between them. Talia caught sight of herself in the mirror as she removed her makeup, pausing to study her reflection. The years had left their mark, fine lines around her eyes, a touch of silver at her temples, but she saw beauty in those changes. Each line told a story of laughter, of tears, of a life fully lived. "What are you thinking about?" Finn asked softly, coming up behind her and wrapping his arms around her waist. Talia leaned back into his embrace, their eyes meeting in the mirror. "Just how far we've come. How different things could have been." Finn nodded, understanding the weight of her words. "Do you ever regret it? Coming out? Transitioning?" Talia turned in his arms, meeting his gaze directly. "Never," she said firmly. "It wasn't always easy, but it led me here. To you, to our children. I wouldn't change a thing." As they settled into bed, Talia's mind drifted to the art show tomorrow. Zoe had been secretive about her pieces, wanting them to be a surprise. Talia couldn't help but feel a mix of pride and nervousness. Her daughter's art often drew from personal experiences, and Talia wondered how much of their family's unique journey might be reflected in the exhibition. The next evening, the family arrived at the gallery, dressed in their best. Dee and Ellen met them at the entrance, both beaming with pride for their honorary niece. As they entered the exhibition space, Talia felt a flutter of anticipation in her stomach. Zoe's section was near the back of the gallery. As they approached, Talia's breath caught in her throat. The centerpiece was a large canvas, a portrait that made her heart skip a beat. It was unmistakably Talia, but split down the middle, one half showing her as she was now, the other a representation of her former self. The two halves blended seamlessly, creating a powerful image of transformation and self-acceptance. Surrounding the portrait were smaller pieces, each capturing moments from their family life. Finn teaching Marcus to play guitar, Talia and Zoe baking together, all four of them piled on the couch for movie night. Each painting was infused with warmth and love, telling the story of their family in vibrant colors and bold strokes. Talia felt tears welling up in her eyes as she took in the display. She turned to Zoe, who was watching nervously for her reaction. "Oh, sweetheart," Talia breathed, pulling her daughter into a tight hug. "It's beautiful. I'm so proud of you." Zoe relaxed into the embrace, relief evident in her voice. "I was worried you might be upset. I wanted to show our story, how love can transcend everything." Finn joined the hug, his arms encircling both of them. "You've captured it perfectly, Zoe. This is incredible." As they stood there, surrounded by Zoe's art and the love of their family, Talia felt a sense of completion. Their journey, or her journey, was right there on the walls, a testament to the power of authenticity and unconditional love. The rest of the evening passed in a blur of congratulations and conversations. Zoe's work received high praise from the gallery owners and other attendees, with several pieces marked for sale before the night was over. As they were preparing to leave, an older woman approached Talia, her eyes shining with emotion. "I just wanted to thank you," she said softly. "Your daughter's art, your story, it's given me hope. My granddaughter recently came out as transgender, and I've been struggling to understand. But seeing your family, the love you share, it's beautiful." Talia felt a lump form in her throat. She took the woman's hands in hers, squeezing gently. "Thank you for sharing that with me. It's not always an easy journey, but love and acceptance make all the difference. Your granddaughter is lucky to have you in her corner." Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out my other socials if you want more wonderful content, early access, behind the scenes, and more. All links down below.